What's up, you hot little cyborgs? This is Nicky G from Better Commander. Today we're talking about Rona, Herald of Invasion. Alright folks, we're going to do two decks today. We're going to do a Rona deck that's kind of got some of the cards that I think would fit excellently in any Rona deck, and then we're going to do a Wizard Tribal deck. So check it out. Rona is described as a young woman with a miniaturized ray gun in her eyeball, which is something I've always wanted. I ordered one from Wish.com. All I got for my effort was conjunctivitis, but Rona looks really cool anyways. She was a traditionally trained Tolarian scholar corrupted by the allure of Phyrexian technology. Who hasn't been corrupted by the allure of something? Rona is kind of unique, just throwing herself at the Phyrexians like a bodybuilder, throwing himself at a boiled chicken and broccoli meal. So anyways, she did a bunch of battles, right? She rebuilt Sheoldred from the ground up and hooked her up to some kind of big wormy guy and helped stage the second Phyrexian invasion of Dominaria. She was wounded by Elspeth Tyrell and sent to Jin Cataxius for reconditioning and completion. And after all that, she's an obliterator, dude. Now, there's only two cards that contain the word Obliterator, and Rona's backside harkens back to the penultimate apex of Phyrexian evolution, the Phyrexian Obliterator, which is black, 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 black. For a creature Phyrexian horror, it's a 5/5 with trample. Whenever a source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. Look at this big fella. It's just Phyrexia's version of the American Pitbull. Now listen folks, we're taking a deep dive into Rona's next incarnation and talk about cards today, baby. But first, blast your eye cannon into the like button, right? Skim the impure subscribe button and leave a comment for the algorithm. If you want to contribute to my eventual completion, you can buy me a coffee at the link in the description. And take a look at this dime piece. We got Rona, Herald of Invasion, 1 in the blue for a legendary creature, human wizard. It's a 1/3. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, untap Rona, Herald of Invasion. It's pretty cool. You have tap, draw a card, then discard a card, and 5 and a Phyrexian black transform Rona activate only as a sorcery. And on the backside, dude, you got Rona Tolarian Obliterator. It's a Phyrexian wizard. It's a 5/5 with trample. Whenever a source deals damage to Rona Tolarian Obliterator, that source's controller exiles a card from their hand at random. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield under your control. Otherwise, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Alright man, one thing at a time here. We have a really excellent mana value 2 Dimir looting commander on the front side. We have this legendary sub-theme which is kind of cool and can boost our looting ability by casting legends that play into our Reanimator theme. Well, that's one way to build it, so let's talk about those little legends. We got a Rumi of the Dead Tide, 1 blue and a black for a legendary creature Merfolk Wizard. It's a 1/4. Has tap, exile cards from your graveyard equal to the number of opponents you have. Target creature card in your graveyard gains Encore until the end of turn. Encore cost is equal to its mana cost. This is pretty crazy good for 6 cents, kind of a build around in its own right. If we're stacking big Reanimator targets, this can take advantage of their ETB effects. We got Oscar the Grouch over here. He left his garbage can on Sesame Street, got a makeover, and here he is. 3 blue and a black for a legendary creature, human wizard. It's a 3/3. Costs 1 less to cast for each different mana value among cards in your graveyard. Whenever you discard a non-land card, you may cast it from your graveyard. This plays right in our strategy, helps reuse some of our instants and sorceries, reanimation spells. It's a pretty cool guy. You got Vohar out here. It looks like my college calculus 1 teacher. He's a desecrator, of course he is. Blue and a black for a legendary creature, Phyrexian Merfolk Wizard. It's a 1/2. Has tap, draw a card, discard a card. If you discard an instant or sorcery card this way, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Has 2, sacrifice him. You may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard this turn. If that spell would be put in your graveyard, exile it instead. Activate only as a sorcery. I really like this guy because he's chilling under the sea like the Little Mermaid. Never underestimate a guy with no face, right? A man with no face has nothing to lose, brother. You got Whisper, Blood Liturgist. I mean, this guy, you know, he's got some interesting fashion sense. He's getting a little creative. Who cares? 3 and a black for a legendary creature, human cleric. It's a 2/2. Has tap, sacrifice 2 creatures, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Look at this meeting of the hair club for men. They're all like, hey, help me out with my... Anyway, keep in mind, this can happen at instant speed, and you can sacrifice Whisper to its own ability, so you just need 1 other creature. Somebody targets a big threat you got out there, sack it, and Whisper to get another threat out of the yard. Unctist, Grand Metatech. This guy's more like Bunkdist. 1 blue for a legendary artifact creature, Phyrexian Vidalkin. It's a 2/4. Other blue creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes tapped, to draw a card and discard a card. Double up on our looting there, buddy. Other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1. Has blue Phyrexian. Till the end of turn, target creature you control becomes a blue artifact in addition to its other colors and types. Activate only as a sorcery. This guy looks like a dang pigeon. I mean, listen, that's a look, but we can double up our looting. Now, depending on what else you got going on in the deck, you might want to include a 1,000-year elixir if you have a lot of tap effects, as it's 3 generic mana for an artifact. You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste, has 1 untap target creature. Pretty useful if you're in the beginning phases of the game and you're looting stuff away. It's also great if you have Magic the Gathering sassiest librarian out there, a zombie lady of scrolls. I always want to say later, dude. I don't know why. Later, dude. 2 blue for a legendary creature, human wizard. It's an 0/2. Tap an untapped wizard you control, draw a card. Either side of our commander is a wizard, and a zombie fits right into our wizard deck, and is a decent reanimation target by herself. Then you got this guy, the old stud. Arcanus the Omnipotent. 3 blue for a legendary creature, wizard. It's a 3/4. Has tap, draw 3 cards, and 2 blue. Return him to his owner's hand. Another decent reanimation target and card advantage engine. Alright, let's read the backside one more time. Whenever a source deals damage to Rona, Tolarian Obliterator, that source's controller exiles a card from their hand at random. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield under your control, otherwise you may cast it without paying its mana cost. This ability says nothing about the source of damage needing to be controlled by an opponent. If we can deal damage to Rona, just give her a little ping. We can exile a card from our hand and do the thing, dude. This gives a unique opportunity to keep the board clear of smaller nuisance creatures and our opponent's utility creatures. So you got cool little pingers and a decent reanimation target in the Endbringer. 5 and a colorless for a creature, Eldrazi. It's a 5/5. Has untap during each other player's untap step, and the salient point here is tap. Endbringer deals 1 damage to any target. It's got some other stuff there. You get a free spell or land from your hand potentially every turn. If you include this, you'll want some colorless lands or ways to create colorless mana, like the next card. Like this card, Desert. It's a desert. Has tap, add colorless, or tap. Desert deals 1 damage to target attacking creature. Activate only during the end of combat step. It's a nice little ping. Speaking of pings, dude, we got Pestilence Demon. Looks like Donald Trump after he takes his wig off. 5 black for a creature demon. It's a 7/6 with flying. Has black. Pestilence Demon deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. Pretty beefy reanimation target. And if we can flip Rona, this guy can keep the board clear and get us our Obliterator triggers, brother. He's nothing but a great thrashing wumpus. 3 black for a creature beast. It's a 3/3. Has black. It deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. It's just a clumpy wumpus with chewy chunks, buddy. Just taking a bath and thrashing out all of its little bath buddies. Sometimes when I'm creeping around my house at night, I think to myself, geez, I might be a demon of dark schemes, dude. 3 black for a creature demon. It's a 5/5 with flying. When Demon of Dark Schemes enters the battlefield, all other creatures get -2/-2 on end of turn. Whenever another creature dies, you get an energy counter. 2 and a black, pay 4 energy counters, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control tapped. This guy has a decent reanimation target and plays into all of our themes. I think this is a little underplayed. If you can reanimate this, depending on the board state, you can immediately start reanimating stuff. So listen, man, we have a sweet beater that wants to get damaged on one side and a looter on the other side. That's the weakness with these flip commanders. Unless the 2 sides obviously harmonize with the critical mass of support cards, then you're pulled in 2 different directions. But if you build into the front, then you can put an alternate game plan, and on the back into effect, there is some versatility there. The other problem is, if you plan to flip it, your opponents can just wait in the shadows and kill it after you waste a whole turn flipping the guy over. But is it fun? Yeah, sure, it's fun. I mean, that's the whole point of this whole thing, right? We're trying to have fun with our buddies. You have a few key strategies here that I keyed in on. You got Reanimate, Ping, and casting random spells for free. Keep in mind that Rona's also a wizard on either side, and there are a fair few payoffs for a wizard in these colors. Like this guy, the old patron wizard. This thing's only a couple dollars, just had a reprint on a list or something like that. Look at this guy, looks like a dang game show host. Now this guy was originally one of those game night products, so it was very expensive, but you got the calculating lich. It's 4 black for a creature zombie wizard. It's 5/5 with menace. Whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents, that player loses 1 life. This guy got a reprint and is 21 cents right now. Now this guy on the other hand desperately needs a reprint. The Galecaster Colossus, 5 blue for a creature giant wizard. It's 5/6. Tap an untapped wizard you control, return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. This is a big beefy boy just like me that can help control the board and fits with the Reanimator theme. You also have the heretofore unknown Cyclone Summoner, dude. He's like a Cyclonic Rift, but he's got a beard. 5 blue for a creature giant wizard. It's 7/7. When Cyclone Summoner enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, god damn it, return all permanents to their owner's hands except for giants, wizards, and lands. So this is not a great Reanimator target. It's very vanilla in that case. But if it's in your hand, a one-sided board wipe for 7 that hits a lot more than creatures, pretty awesome. And you got the old Bloodline buddy and his bloody chick friend. 4 and a black for a creature vampire wizard, it's a 3/2. This is a picture of Netflix and chill gone wrong. Got lifelink. When Bloodline Necromancer enters the battlefield, you may return target vampire or wizard creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Sheesh, what the heck are these two up to? Looks like some bloody stuff. Nobody has time for this. Looks like they mounted the big screen TV up on a little high on the wall watching the Mandalorian over there. So if you want to get 2 wizards back for 5 mana or so, you got Thwart the Grave, 4 black for a sorcery. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. I'm assuming you're only going to have a wizard. Return target creature card and up to 1 cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So if you build into wizards, you can put in generically powerful tribal effects like Kindred Discovery, Kindred Dominance, which is $35 right now. I think Rona needs a focus theme and sub-theme to really shine. Generic Reanimator deck has better options than Dimir. But as I was looking at Memnarch with his beautiful big brain and his skinny beautiful legs, I realized it's legendary, it's a wizard, but it's also an artifact creature. So I started looking at Artifact Recursion, and recently Artifact Recursion in black got a big boost with the 40k commander decks, specifically the Necron deck. Sorry. If you have one of these lying around, modifying it to include blue, which is fantastic for card draw and control elements, though not an artifact herself, this fits thematically with Rona's Phyrexian origins. And it brought us cards like Sarek, the Silent King. It's 1 black for a legendary artifact creature Necron. It's a 3/4. Has flying. My will be done. Whenever this dude attacks, mill 3 cards. You may put an artifact creature card or vehicle card from among the cards milled this way into your hand. Pretty decent card draw if you have a critical mass of artifact creatures. And you got Anrakir the Traveler. He's like Dora the Explorer out there traveling around. 4 and a black for a legendary artifact creature Necron. It's a 4/4. He's Lord of the Purian Legions. Whenever Anrakir the Traveler attacks, you may cast an artifact spell from your hand or graveyard by paying life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. Yeah, dude, artifact recursion theme is another effective way to go with some really great legends and payoffs. Some of those cards are getting really pricey though. Canaptek Spider and Crypto Thrall are pretty expensive right now, upwards of $5-6. And in Artifact and Colorless, there's a lot of reanimation targets we can include in a focused Artifact recursion deck. You got Triplicate Titan out there. Look at that guy. He's got 3 heads. He's loving life. And you got cards like Cityscape Leveler. So in a dedicated Artifact deck, you have payoffs like Nettle Cyst and Cranial Plating, right? You're going to put all your ramp into artifacts, all your drawn artifacts. You're going to have lots of artifacts out there. Cranial Plating also, incidentally, is in the Necron deck, which could make Rona pretty massive, or one of our reanimated threats pretty massive as well. Yeah, man, overall seems like a big dumb deck doing big dumb things. I'm going to put the deck list in the description. It has some of the key cards for all these strategies, and you can see for yourself. As an added bonus, we'll do a wizard tribal deck for funsies. I would recommend using those as templates, right? I have some pricier cards in there, some cheaper cards in there, like the old Vilus Broker of Blood, stuff like that, but I keep the overall budget to about $100 or so for both of them. You can go cheaper, you can go pricier, it's all up to you, buddy. So get out there, start consuming some spoilers, go get completed if you want to. The dank set is almost upon us, and there are tons of cards to check out. This is Nicky G from Better Commander signing off.